Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is Mystic Games. Today we're going to be talking the Turtle Clan. If you guys are interested in seeing actual gameplay, I did do a long play, which was like an hour and a half, which was one of my longer long plays for the Turtle Clan, where I actually play the whole through till the end, and then I talk at the end about how I felt about the clan. Unfortunately, my audio was off, so there is no actual conversation about me discussing all the information of the clan. So I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I normally do when I start a long play, and I kind of go over the clan for everybody. I think it's very helpful for people looking to learn about the clan and kind of how it functions. And then I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on what I've learned from my long play and from playing a little bit of the Conquest as well. So they are a nomad merchants clan. If you can bargain peace with them, they are experts at getting what they need and possessing what their enemies desire, thus turning them into allies or eliminating them before they have a chance to react. They are a developmental clan. They're mostly focused on economy. They have a little bit of military might, and they are a support clan. I will say the Warchief has a dodge that's 30%, which is pretty high. It means like every 1 in 3 attacks misses the Warchief. Which makes him actually pretty viable as a tank, because you can use him to distract the enemy, which is pretty nice. So I do want to mention that. And he reduces cost, which is important to know. So the clan can buy villagers. When it counts down and hits 0, as long as you have food or housing, it does seem to automatically give you a villager from what I've seen. The cost increases as population size goes up, and it's based on happiness. So, in population growth speed. So, there's multiple factors that figure out how fast you get villagers. I do feel like the overall time without purchasing villagers is actually slower than it would be for any other clan. I could be wrong on that, but it just seems slower. So you are going to want to purchase, which is kind of a downside in a sense, I feel like. But I haven't actually done the math or calculated it, but it does seem slower to me. When you're in a zone that is attacked, civilians will automatically garrison themselves in the building that they're working in, essentially. When they exit the garrison, they gain a defense bonus for a few seconds. I think it was about 5 seconds, if I remember. It's very good to garrison your civilians up and then release them to fight once they have the defense bonus. And the reason I say this is because if you do, there was glitches that you can see during my long play, and you couldn't hear what I was saying, obviously, but when my workers from the lumber mill would go into the lumber mill to hide and the zone was getting taken, every time they would, like, I would fight it off with militia or my war chief or my army, they would come back out and get back to work. I would gain no wood bonus. So I had to reset them every time. If you release them to have them fight like any other time, like any other clan would, they get the defense bonus, so they're not going to get killed as easily, and then they go right back to work, and you don't have to reset them. So it does save you time to actually release them on the defense bonus. The only thing that I noticed this with was the lumber mill. I didn't notice it with any of the other buildings. That doesn't mean it does not affect them. Something to know. That's obviously probably going to be patched, but something you guys should know about. It is a cool thing to do as well, because the defense bonus is nice. The clan earns 30 fame for each positive level of relations with another clan, so you want to be trading, you want to be interacting with neutral factions. Good clan for that. Caravans, you can have up to 4 caravans. You start off with 3, and then you gain the ability to purchase an additional caravan, which makes 4. Now, we're going to go into a little bit more when we talk about the lore, because I already know things going ahead into this about this clan that you guys don't know if you haven't looked into it yet. So, the caravans are really cool and a nice mechanic, but I do not think that they replace other buildings. And I'll explain why in a little bit, but they are very useful. You can have an additional caravan up to 4 with this 200, which honestly, you realistically probably wouldn't want to have 4 caravans, or more than 3 caravans anyways most of the time. And then there's only really, I'm going to explain why I'm saying that, but I feel like caravans really you're probably going to want 2, and then the other 2 are optional in a sense. Working shopkeepers also produce crowns. It's a very, very small amount of crowns. I think it's like 0.3 crowns per shopkeeper. And you can assign one more per caravan, up to 3. So essentially it makes it like an upgraded building. That being said, it does not produce like an upgraded building. Knights in very shining armor. Military units gain 1% attack power and defense for every 50 crowns in stock, up to 25%. That's a solid bonus. Nothing bad to say about that. I do like very much that they add you can purchase villagers for crowns instead of food at this point, because sometimes it is nice to be able to switch over to maximize your food and then start using your crowns, which this clan is also very good at that. So you can swap over to using your crowns instead of your food to make sure that you have both resources in stock. The clan can buy and sell relations with clans and factions. That's a super good relic. It's very useful against non-player clans and factions because you can make them like you more comparatively to a person you obviously can't buy their alliance. So it's a good relic in a PvE sense. I think it's really cool. So for lore, you have supply chain, which is when you have a caravan in a zone, it reduces consumption by 15%. Super solid. If any military units are in that zone, it's minus 30%. So essentially, if your army is you want to put your caravan in a heavy working area generally to lower the consumption and also increase output. And then you want to put your military in that zone as well if it's a defensive area, and it will reduce their consumption output, which gives you more food. And this also links up very well with aggressive marketing, which we'll talk about in a second. That's on the next tree. Advanced prospection. A further the zone is from the clan's territory, the more shopkeepers' production is increased. It goes up to like 7.5%, and then like 15%. It might go higher, but I didn't even look beyond that point. Shopkeepers also benefit from forged tools for the resources they collect. Now, this is really solid due to the foraging. What I'll say about the further away from the zone the clan is, this is helpful for mining. Caravans are very nice because they replace the ability to mine with a mine. So you can make your caravan kind of collect food or collect wood, and then when you find something you want to mine, you can move them over to mine for you, and then move them back to do whatever other job you want, which is super nice because you never have to build mines again. I actually really like using the caravans as mineral collectors. So I think that's a really useful way to use caravans, by the way. All overcompensation does is it increases your warband, and you can essentially pay for it. I'm not going to go too deep into that. It's okay. Aggressive marketing is insane. Deployed caravan behaves like a defense tower and benefits from all bonuses affecting them. So the interesting thing about this was when it was attacking in my long play, it seemed to attack quicker than towers do, but it outputs like the same damage, so it would output more, and because it's just a faster attack speed. It seemed like it's a really funny animation. They like throw like food and like dough rollers and stuff like that. So pretty funny. But it's essentially an additional defense building. Caravans can be targeted for attacks, by the way, so that's good to know as well. But having this, you can actually drop this in a zone with a tower, and you have essentially 2 towers in the zone. It's super good. It works well with supply chain because then you can put it on one of your border tiles or a defensive tile, and you're going to have all your military, probably stationed there if it's a defensive tile where they kind of have to get through to get to you, or reduce the cost of your food for the military unit standing there, and you'll also have an additional source of damage along with a tower if you have one there, which you should have both. Obviously, if it's a choke point, you want to defend it. Super good ability, works well with supply chain. The issue with this is that you're never really going to want to go past the center, and to get the production bonus for this, you have to go past like the middle to get the 7.5. I'm not saying you're not going to do that, but I'm just saying it just doesn't seem as useful as you think it would be. I wish the zone radius for the production increase was slightly smaller on it. I think it would make it a lot more useful. And then last but not least, you have assets export. It unlocks trade with the trade route victory, which is Milkagard, Miklagard, and Caravans can send resources directly to trade routes. Targeted clans or factions receive the entirety of the production, and relations with them are improved by the fixed amount. So just better to trade via the caravans in a sense. When you're trading with an ally, especially another player, it'd be great because they're going to gain pretty much everything. And when you're trading with a neutral or a non-player faction, they get a little bit more relationship. A couple things that I think are important to talk about here as well. Actually, let's talk about their Warchief, because he's super important to understand them. Everything else down here is a repeat of everything else. Their Warchief will bring down the prices of everything in the territory that he's standing in. That includes the people, like your villager production, so you can buy villagers with food. It will decrease them by, oh my god, I wish I could think of the percentage. I want to say like 20%, but I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. But we'll just go with around 20%. Everything will get reduced, so if you upgrade a building, that gets reduced. If you build a building, I'm not sure, because I never actually looked in the zone with him in it when I was trying to build something. Because I just didn't need the resources, because they have such a solid start that I had enough wood that I didn't have to worry about that. But he's super good, so you kind of put him in your town hall area, you pump out villagers with him. You can also use caravans to rush the steel, because you can have you start off with a caravan, so you just throw a guy in there and you have him mine like any iron, or is it steel or iron? Doesn't really matter, I guess, right? The resource of metal that you get, that the shopkeeper can actually collect it for you. You can bring it into a neutral zone. Like you have to just clear the hostile enemies out of the zone, and then you can set up the caravan there and actually use it as a mine. So it's super useful. You can pretty much rush any sort of the metal. You can get him out super early, which then reduces cost for everything else. Super good combination. So like my big thing for you guys to take away from this clan, if you decide to get it, which I would get this clan. I think they're pretty fun. Their conquest so far has been fun. I do feel like the first bonus is not the best bonus. I'm not going to go into that. That might be a separate video, but I do feel like caravans are good. I just feel like upgraded buildings do a better job still. So caravans are nice in the beginning of the game because they allow you to quickly set up things, and they allow you to get bonus food off a tile that already has food. So it's very useful in that sense, but beyond that, I feel like they become more of a defensive structure later. Like generally I went this tree first, and then I went this tree, and then I went this tree, right? So I feel like the progression of this clan is to try to win a trade victory, and then if the game goes long enough, you get to the point where you get aggressive marketing, and then your extra caravans are going to be used as defensive points, where you're going to be able to put them into choke points to keep the enemy from getting through, or make it much more difficult, I should say, to get through, because you're going to have double towers, and a military power there to stop them. It's even in the sense of if you lose a fight, right? Maybe you lose the first fight, but then they have to get through another territory to actually get to you, and they might have another caravan in a tower waiting for them at that choke point, and they might be too weak to actually push forward, and it might give you time to come back. The clan is very powerful even in a defensive stance once you get the aggressive marketing. So this also would stack with defensive strategy, which is nice. So yeah, anyways, it's a solid clan. The caravan can specialize in food, so if you have a fish in the zone, instead of just gathering food, you might want to gather fish, because it might increase your output, especially during the winter. I had a zone in my long play that had wheat and fish on it, and I believe at one point in that long play I switched from wheat when it hits winter and I turned into fish, and so my food output from the caravan goes higher than it would if I was still collecting wheat, and then I swapped it back to wheat when the winter ended to get more food. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the caravan. The issue is, again, as I said, upgrading buildings is still going to functionally provide you more than the caravan will. So that's something to keep in mind. There is no wood specialization even in a forest. Like, you can't, which, again, this is something, if the developers watch my videos, I'm one of the few content creators for this game. I would recommend that you actually add the caravan to be able to get additional wood from forests, in the sense of, like, when they set up shop, they should have a special pine tree image, and it should provide a little bit more wood or something. That would be cool too. Being that they can specialize in food, I think it would be cool if you're in a specialized zone, if you can get a specialized resource. So, I think that's it. Super fun clan, highly recommend them. Caravan's nice. I think the caravan is a good replacement for your lumber mill until you find a forest that you can drop a lumber mill on and then upgrade it. I was using it mostly for wood and for mining. I essentially was using one for mining and one for wood until I got my lumber mill set up where I wanted with the additional 10% production. And then I used it for food after that. So additional food on my food territory. So, anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that I didn't have any sound. Some people actually might like that. It might be more peaceful for them than just watching my gameplay. But super fun clan, super enjoying them. I plan on trying to beat the conquests over the weekend, and I will probably actually talk to you guys about their special bonuses in conquest. The first one I've unlocked. I haven't got to the second one yet. I'm hoping the second one's a little more fun in a sense. I feel like the first one's kind of boring. But we'll discuss that once I finish. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will catch you in the next video. Have a great holiday as well. Later, guys.